Hi, so hello. Just waiting for my two coach people to come in. And oh, here we are. I'm adding in Paul. Hi, Paul. How are you? You're on mute. So, hello everybody.
Hello,
My name is Leslie,
I'm fine. How are you?
Karma Coach, and what I do is I help my clients achieve self-awareness around their emotions, especially when it comes to stress. We are living in very stressful times, and so that they can manage their emotions more effectively and live a more positive life. Hi, Paul. Introduce yourself. We've never met. Hi.
So I'm Paul McCracken. I recently retired this last summer, and so I'm in Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri,
Wow.
and just kind of trying to figure out how to run a retired life here.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
So I do some online business and stuff, and just like to meet people and do things and work on myself.
very nice. And the thing is, not only are you having to navigate this new world that we all woke up to, but you're also navigating a new lifestyle. So within this new world, because you said you're recently retired, so that has to have its challenges as well. So definitely, I'm so glad that you decided to come on with that today. I'm just waiting. We're just waiting for Angie. But yeah, so I feel like this is a really good platform for us all to be able to share how we, to help other people through everything that they're going through, especially with this whole scare that we're going through, which has really made our lives different. Hi, Angie.
Hello.
I don't see you.
I
Where
know.
are
I'm
you?
having some technical difficulties here. I'm like, of course, I can't get on camera. But happy to be here. Keep going, and I will try to fix this if I can.
Yeah, no worries. So, yeah, so really, I guess since Angie, you decided that this was, Angie had approached me earlier today and had suggested, let's get on and just show our collective support for, people that are going through this, just like we are, and especially within the areas of coaching that we all are a part of. And so, Angie, if you'd like to start, I would really love that. Share with them, what you have going on, what you'd like to be able to share with, with our public that's watching us now.
Well, thank you. Yes, and I really appreciate you both like being willing to hop on and just be a part of this. Just honestly watching everything happen and unfold via social media, and we're all in different parts of the country, right? And we're having different experiences, and what I'm noticing is people are freaking out. So I said, what better way than for us to be able to come together and show support and be able to offer, whatever skill set we have, to the public, and be able to support in whatever way, right? Like we all get to make a difference. And we all have our own little gifts and talents. So I'm like, you know what, let's do this. So it's kind of a little random. It's not as, I don't have like a specific agenda or anything in mind, but again, it's just really to offer support.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. One thing I have to say is that a lot of what people are talking about really is they're stressed. And so with that whole piece of being stressed, not only are they stressed about the unknown, the fear of the unknown, not having control, not knowing what it's going to look like when the dust settles, but now we're being told to stay away from each other, essentially. And that's obviously for our well-being, our health, our health well-being. But again, with that comes the whole part of being isolated, feeling isolated. And I really feel like that's really important for us to talk about, is not, although we are maybe distancing ourselves from people socially, as far as like being in contact with them, we have to make sure that we still make those connections, whether it's by phone or Zoom or however it is that it works for us.
Absolutely. And Paul, I don't know if you guys, as I mentioned, I've been having some technical difficulties here, so I don't know if you were able to introduce Paul.
Paul and I just chatted briefly, but I'd love Paul to tell us a little bit more about himself and what he does. Now that he's got a new lifestyle, which is very cool.
Okay, so just briefly, because there's way too much to cover. I spent most of my life working for a living. I was in the commercial printing business for quite a few years, and then I went to something they call release liner, which is similar to that, except you're putting clear silicone on paper or plastic or whatever, or vinyl, and they use that mostly in the medical profession. And then I decided I wanted to retire from that, so I did that, and I started driving. So I started driving for Uber for a while, and then I decided I liked that, so I started driving for a company, and I drove for that, and I loved it. I was doing medical transport, got to meet a lot of people and connect with a lot of people, and I liked that. But I didn't want to work forever. I spent most of my time away from home, and I wanted to be with my family more. So we all got together and we started looking, and we found a place that we could retire, and managed to sell a business that I had, and just things fell into place. And it was all because of my choice and my desire to have a vision of what we wanted to do. And we all got together, and it just kind of materialized. It wasn't even on a year ago. And all of a sudden, everything just fell into place. So here I am. So now I'm retired. We bought a house that we could do some remodeling on, and so we did that. And I didn't think the deal would go through, but it did. Again, just because of the belief that it's going to happen. And it's all about your choices. Just like this particular pandemic, they're calling it. It's your choice. You can choose to let it affect you negatively and have you cowering in the corner in fear, or you can choose to just calmly address each situation as it comes up and do the best you can. You're going to find the solutions if you're just calmly looking for them. And so now I'm retired, and I'm just kicking back here for the last 6 months and wondering, hey, this new lifestyle, now what do? I'm used to working all the time. Now I'm not working hardly at all. Gee, it's a culture change, let me tell you.
It definitely is. And it's one of the things where Leslie and I were speaking about it earlier, and I've heard others mention it. This is a new reality, right? And that's where the stress comes into play. And as you mentioned, choices. And that's, again, like for me, what I would like to really just focus on is what we can do and be proactive during these times. And one of the biggest things, and I know I have had my fair share of political conversations and shared my opinions on certain things, but I think right now that can be shelved, right? And focus on what we can do, right? Like we can, avoid arguing and needing to be right in whatever position you want to be in, and whether it's political, whether it's, conspiracy theory, whatever it is, or your belief system. Right now, I feel that we should not really focus on that and just really be proactive and solution focused. Right? I've had a few people reach out to me, and just to, for the audience sake, I have 20 years of mental health background experience plus the coaching. And so, the anxiety and the depression and all of these things are really rampant right now, right? So it's either escalating within those that already had it, or being brought forth by those that are being affected by this. So, I just really want to say, it's like, it's okay to freak out. It's okay to have your moment. Give yourself permission to have whatever moment it is that you need to have. And just because I'm in Texas, like my heart is just really going out for Las Vegas right now and the other cities that have been shut down. And we're all being affected in one way or another, right? Like my son is by himself out in Las Vegas. He's only 19. So of course I'm panicking over here, but you just have to keep it moving and trust in yourself. Have that ability to choose that it's going to be okay, right? Choose into that belief system and declutter your mindset, right? So that you can address each issue as it arises one step at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is actually consciously, like Paul had said, and exactly what you've been saying, Angie, is that making that conscious choice. Because we can all choose to panic. And of course, that's an easy choice. It is. Or you can do the hard choice, which is to calm yourself and look at things and just try to, look at it. What is it that I'm dealing with, and how can I deal with it where it's effective, that it's going to affect me positively rather than negatively. But that's a harder choice to make. And it's easier just to react, to be reactive, and instead of being proactive in getting and working through this world that we're living in today. Again, you're saying, like, one of the things I notice is how people are treating each other. Some people are very kind to each other, and you can tell the way they speak to each other. Some people are, they're stressed, and that's why they are reacting, whether they're screaming and yelling at customer service, whether you're out and you're trying to get things. And I know we're all stressed about that. We're worried that we're going to run out of things. And then you've got people who are really kind, and they understand, look, we can't yell at each other. We can't treat each other poorly because we're going through this. We have to be able to look at it, make the choice to, as you're saying, either you cower in a corner and you're fearful and you allow yourself to respond out of fear, or you make the hard choice and you realize, okay, this is what's happening. Keep yourself informed and do what you need to do in order to get through this, because we are going to get through this one way or another. Time will continue on, and at some point the dust is going to settle. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we can live positively from this moment forward, going through this while it's happening.
Absolutely. And one of the things too that I would like, and I wanted to make this like a group effort. Oh, so sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I was going to say, it's like I was going to invite each of them.
I just wanted to say that one thing that everybody needs to understand too, you and you alone are in full control. So you have the ability to make that choice for you, and make the choice for you, nobody else. Make it for you. Do what's right for you. And I just want to say that you are totally in control of that. And that's all I wanted to say.
And thank you. And so actually that kind of ties into what I was going to say is, while it's easy for us to say we have the tools, we've been working with people and teaching people how to use them, but there's a lot of people right now that have no access to these tools. They're like, oh, making a choice, not stressing out, shifting, all of this stuff. People have no idea what we're talking about. So I would like to invite, each of you to share maybe one tool that to the audience that may support them. We all have different approaches and ways of doing it. So maybe, somebody can pick up a tool that we are offering, and it would really support them in how to come to that choice point, right? And being able to choose to move forward and not panic and doing all that stuff, right? Because we don't want to preach, right? Just keep going. We actually want to help and provide support. So Leslie, could you start by giving offerings?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know one of the things that's really easy, you get yourself riled up, because things happen. I was just actually saying to my husband the other day when I was out driving, coming home, that someone was having a road rage moment in front of me. And I thought, okay. And that was just because of stress. And so when you find yourself in those moments where you feel like you just feel that loss of control, because you are feeling that you don't understand what's happening, you don't know what it's going to look like when everything's done and finished. So a quick tip that you can do today, and you can use this as many times during the day as you want. It's really super easy, but it's super effective, and that's deep breathing techniques. I love them because it really brings you back to a calming state of mind. So you just find a place where you can just sit comfortably and quietly and close your eyes and just really focus on yourself, focus inward, and take some really long, deep breaths in through your nose, and then exhale them slowly through your mouth, and just feel yourself releasing the tension, and repeat that a few times, and bring yourself, as I said, back to a calm state of mind. And if you need to do it more than one time a day, again, as I said, it does really work because it just brings you back to focusing on being in a calm state of mind. So that's my quick tip.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
How about you, Paul?
Well, mine would be similar. Really, the first thing I do is meditate in the morning, and then that could be anything that you desire. It could be a meditation site that you like to go to. It could be a church or anything like that you like to get involved with. Whatever your preference is, to do that, and to do that when you need to, just like Leslie said, get that calm going, and then get into a routine, and stick with your routine. If you get used to a routine and you feel comfortable with that routine, it puts you at ease. So if you have a daily routine, like you do this in the morning, and the next thing you do is this, next thing you do is that, continue with that. In spite of what's going on around you, continue with that routine, and it will put you in the right frame of mind to react calmly and rationally, and it will feel more comfortable to you.
Thank you, Paul. And yeah, you both are absolutely right. Breathing, and that's funny because that's one of my tips too, is just breathe, right? Breathe and meditate and get present. And so for me, what I like to suggest, and there's actually two, if you guys don't mind. One of them is learning how to get present and surrender to the moment. And what that means, and it does start with the breathing. If you feel that you're spiraling out of control and you're playing the what if game and you're rapidly going down that rabbit hole, stop, right? Just stop right there, take a deep breath, and, look around you, right? And focus on what is exactly happening, right? People are running out of water and toilet paper. That's been like the ongoing joke, right? But in that moment, when you're panicking and you take that deep breath, ask yourself, do you need that toilet paper right now? In this very moment, do you need that? And if the answer is no, right, then take another deep breath and be like, okay, so what can't be done, right? So it's not so dire, right? Because our mind will play tricks on us. And the other is also surrender. My mentor used this metaphor with me, and it's stuck. And it's with surrounding martial arts, right? When we say surrender, most people think give up. And that's the exact opposite, right? We don't want to be uber positive and be like, everything is going to be okay, right? Surrendering is the way to really get real and attack what it is that we're, facing. In martial arts, when the opponent is going to hit you and you're about to get hit, what you do is you move with the motion of the impact, not against it. And again, sorry that I can't be seen because I'm doing like the hand motions, but just visualize that, right? If somebody's going to hit you, instead of moving forward and creating resistance towards that hit, you go backwards, right? To minimize the impact, right? You're accepting the fact that you're about to get hit. And so you just slowly move forward to reduce the impact. And so learning how to surrender to what is also a great way to go with the flow and navigate through it. There's a lot of things that we don't know. Like Leslie said, we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what it's going to turn out to be, but we still do have control of whatever's happening in this moment, right? And we can get creative. With the whole toilet paper joke and stuff, like people are like, we can use leaves, we can do this, we can do that, right? Showers. It's like, just take that deep breath and get present, and then and get solution focused, right? Acknowledge the problem and move on and surrender to it and become solution focused. I think that is a big tip and trick, right, of being able to move forward in any situation. This, of course, is a much bigger scale, but we can definitely get through it. And Leslie, I know you had mentioned, the impact of social distancing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important to obviously social distancing is just because our public health officials it's a way to combat, the spread of disease. But one of the things with social distancing, which it could be a real issue, is when you are isolating yourself from other people, you could actually go into isolation where you're isolating yourself from connections. And so one of the things I had talked about today on my live was, even though you are having to take these extra steps, these extra precautions, in not having these group interactions and not meeting up with people, you can still do it virtually, like we're doing right now. We're having a live, but you can also have like a private conversation through Facebook Messenger, or you can FaceTime if you have, with our smartphones, they are smart. You can have actual FaceTime video chats. Even Zoom, you can even create a free account with Zoom, and you can have a virtual coffee date or whatever you want that to look like, a lunch date with somebody, and stay connecting so that you keep at least having those connections with people so that you don't feel so isolated, because with isolation can come depression, and part of that too, the one thing that I would not want to happen is through depression and you're isolating yourself from other people without contact, there could even be suicidal thoughts, and we don't want it to go to that level. Because again, we're listening to our media. They're telling us all different types of things. You're hearing new things every 5 minutes, new updates, things are being shut down. You're hearing the words martial law could be possible. You're hearing things like there could be armed guards in the streets. And so that can be a scary thought for people. So I don't want people to go there. I'd rather them, if you're going to be having to distance yourself from other people, and you are staying home and working from home, and you're schooling your children at home, just make sure that you also have your connections with other people outside through our devices, which we've been so lucky to have available to us.
Definitely agree, and thank you, Leslie. And you're absolutely right. I think using, the technology that we have available, right, can really support us and be smart about it. Paul, do you have anything that you would like to add on how to navigate through the social distancing piece?
Well, I think just be thankful for what you do have. And if you're calm and you're thankful for what you do have, you notice things that you don't normally notice, and you don't realize how good you got it sometimes. Just a simple example, the store was out of bread, of course, so we didn't have any bread. And I thought, well, we'll make some. Well, we didn't have any milk. We didn't, I was wondering, where's the flour? Couldn't find all the flour. I thought, well, that's going to be a little difficult. So you could choose right then and there to panic, or you could be thankful for what you do have. And I looked at it and I said, we got this new mixer that makes bread, and I'll bet you we've got some stuff somewhere else. I looked in the freezer, sure enough, we had some flour in the freezer. Found evaporated milk. Hey, we got everything to make bread, so we made our own bread. Now, had I just panicked, there's nothing in the store. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do, and start ranting and raving about how bad it is, I would have never seen those things. I would have never even thought to look for them. It would just be calm, and like I said, be thankful for what you do have. We always keep stuff fairly well stocked, and we're not gonna starve by any means. It may be inconvenient for a while. We're not going to have chips and salsa every day because we may not have them around forever because they're perishable, but we'll get by on what we can get by. And I'm thankful that I was able to grow up living off the land and learning how to find things and how to grow things and all that kind of thing, so that you can make do with what you got. I used to watch how many guys know how to cook real good. Not a lot of them anymore. They know how to go to the fast foods. They don't necessarily. I'm fortunate too. I taught my kids how to cook, so I know they're okay. My boys can cook better than I can, so I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy with that. But yeah, just be thankful for what you do have and utilize what you have and realize it is going to end. You know, it's going to end. And it really doesn't matter how it ends. It's going to end. And so you might as well enjoy the time you have with your loved ones and with the people that you can be around and with the people that you've met in life that you can talk to on the internet. You know, just enjoy people because that's what it's all about, is people taking care of people. I guess that's my best advice.
Thank you, Paul. No, and that's, you bring up a lot of great points. And for me, something that I've been saying is the social distance does not equate social disconnect. And like what Leslie was saying, as far as like using the technology to be able to reach out, you know, even having that FaceTime, you know, and tying in what you were saying, Paul, like these are things that, you know, back in the 20s, right? People are comparing what's happening right now to what happened 100 years ago. We weren't able to, you know, connect in that way and check up on our families immediately across the nation, right? So like that, those are the things that we get to look forward to, is the fact that yes, this is happening, and yes, it's stressful, but there's still plenty of things that we can do. Something else to consider and to think about. I was talking to a friend of mine and I'm like, you know, this is the perfect time for you to hit that reset button in your life, right? She was so used to the busyness, right? Like she really equated her life's worth, not her personal worth, but her life's worth on how much she accomplished. She's very much a doer. And I'm like, well, this right now gives you the opportunity to just take a breather, pause, hit that reset button, and really start to look at what matters most. You know, Paul, you were speaking about your sons. Like, you know, luckily you taught them how to cook, right? Right now my kids don't know, but guess what I'm doing, right? I'm using this time to also be able to create a memory and bond with them, have it be a teachable moment, and normalize it. Because the funny thing is that people are complaining about certain things that were normal 50 years ago, right? It was normal to spend time with your kids at home and read. That was normal back then, but we've been so honestly disconnected by the technology, right? That now this gives us actually a great opportunity to reconnect. And so those are the ways too that we get to shift our mindset and look into like what it is that's possible and the opportunities that we're, you know, experiencing right now, right? Again, it's like looking at that silver lining. We don't want to be like uber positive and like, yeah, but it's a realistic thing. We can really connect. I jokingly posted earlier about like, do the Amish even know yet? Right? Has anybody told the Amish?
Yeah.
But it was a joke. One, I put that on there for comedic relief. I love to joke through certain things, but also to get people to stop and think and realize, right, that we can live and survive off the land, as you said, Paul, right? Like it's still possible to make and to thrive in an environment that is not so congested with stuff and doing.
Yeah, and actually to go a little bit off of what you were saying, Angie, when I say to use our electronic devices as our forms of communication and to make sure that we still connect, we also want to make sure that we connect with those that maybe we have a family, like you said, you have your kids, and make sure that you're doing things with them. We don't want it to be all about just, you know, being on your social media feed scrolling. No, that's really not, that's not really healthy anyways, regardless of what stage of the world we're living in right now. But it's just really making sure that you do the things that, you know, go back and think about what was life like. Because I grew up, I'm like 3 years from 60, which is kind of not freaking me out, but it freaks me out in a different way, meaning that, wow, time has gone by so fast. But, I didn't grow up with social media like this. We didn't have cell phones and laptops and computers. Actually, they came while I was growing up. And so this wasn't a part of my lifestyle. Growing up, I didn't have the internet to study. I had to go to the library and look at books and do things like that. So really reconnecting maybe back to, it's not so much that you're going back in time, but reconnecting to the world. Because I think social media has, as you said, there's been that disconnect from everything where families used to spend time, Sunday dinners, things like that, and now or spend time with their kids. Kids used to play outside. I remember going outside and my mom wouldn't see us till lunchtime and then dinner time because we were playing. Getting back to those types of things where it's not, we're getting back to learning how to connect with ourselves and with each other instead of just being disconnected and being a part of this social media thing, which is, like I said, right now we're utilizing it because it's our way to stay connected. But I think past this, once we get past all of this and the dust has settled and we find out where we're at, I would really love it if people could take this time thinking about what would their life look like if they really thought about it in a way where let's start really doing those things outside of social media, outside of scrolling on their phone and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter and Snapchat and all of those things. What would their life look like just being, right? So that's something else as well that I hope people will take from this, is finding some time to really just getting to know themselves. And because we're very resilient if we allow ourselves, like Paul was saying, making the choice. We're very resilient if we allow ourselves to be and not allow fear, and just, I'll even take it a step further. Kids, I'm sure, Angie, your kids are probably not as freaked out about this as the adults are, because they are thinking from a young mind where it's like they haven't had time to process all of the disasters in time that we've all experienced. This is just new for them. So they have that young frame of mind, which is optimistic. Things are going to be good. Okay. And they look at it from a different perspective than most adults would. And so it's just really kind of like going back and thinking about, how did I think when I was 15 or 16? And there was things going on in the world that my parents were affected by, but it didn't really affect me that way emotionally because you weren't, I don't know if the word's tainted, but you didn't really have that like negative limiting belief on you yet. So it's just something to think about. Oh, Angie's gone. Oh, she left. Oh, here we go. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I just feel like we've all been on social media for so long that we've forgotten what it's like to actually connect outside of social media. I mean, you've seen it. You see people with their heads down all the time on their phones. Even when they're connecting with each other, they're on their cell phones. So it's just really taking this time maybe to really connect with each other, the people that are in your home, and learn to connect through using social media, getting to know one another again, and then maybe taking it a step further once we're past this and really getting out there and living your life. Are you back, Angie?
Yes, I am. I was just listening. And absolutely, I completely agree. And it's just like using the technology to connect us, I think, is the big key here. And not just during this time, it's moving forward. I think that was the original purpose of all of this technology, right? I think that the visionaries, when they created this technology, they were like, great, we can, it used to be AT&T's slogan was reach out and touch someone, right? Like, and be able to connect. And we've actually been socially distancing ourselves, over the years by cluttering our lives with all this stuff. And that's what I meant by the reset, right? Like we get to really maximize on the connections that we can make. And Paul, I'm a little curious because you mentioned kids, and I definitely do have something to say about that. But your niche, Paul, is really working with the elderly, right? I don't want to like age you or date you here, but that's kind of what you do, right?
yeah, kind of. You can say that. I've worked with a lot of elderly people. Like I said, in medical transport, I encountered a lot of them, and it's you know, I try to treat everybody equal, you know, no matter what their walk of life or what their problem is at this point in time. Unless you treat me wrong, I'm going to treat you the same way I treated everybody else, you know. And so you get to encounter a lot of people that are really hurting, and they've got a lot of problems, and they're severe problems. But what I found is that they're the most well-adjusted, happiest people that I've encountered. I mean, they dealt with their problem. They know it's a problem. They're doing the best they can with it, and they're not going to let it lick them. They're going to keep living their life as best they can based on their situation. And that's really encouraging to me, to have somebody that maybe that is just so happy to share things with you, and so happy to communicate with you, and so happy with the life that they do have, because they realize what they lost, and they're happy to have what they have. And you just have to appreciate that. And I don't know, you know, like I said, you know, I'm old, I'm retired, but I've told myself many times I may be old, but I ain't dead yet. And I'm going to continue to live my life as best I can for as long as I can. So, and I admire that about others, and I hope that I'm able to do the same when I'm older.
I have no doubts that that'll be you, Paul. And definitely leaving and making a legacy. And again, and here's the other thing too. Like, I love the fact that we're pointing out things that these are things that happen outside of this crisis, right? As you were mentioning, Paul, like the aging, it's like as they're, you know, unfortunately dying and passing away, they start to really take into account what mattered in their life, what the legacy that they're leaving behind. You know, Leslie, you've spoken to the kids. It's like these kids don't have the muscle memory, so to speak, right? The recall of whatever problems, you know, we've experienced. But also on the other side, it's like those that have, it's almost like this is this is it, guys. This is what we've been training for, right? Every struggle, every issue, situation that we've had has led us to this and prepared us for this, right? So we have it in us to be able to overcome anything. And I said I would share something about my kids, and it's not in particular this situation, but I had my own personal crisis a few months ago and stuff. And I remember snapping at my kids, like, you guys, you don't understand. This is like, you guys are so calm. Like, why are you not freaking out about this? And my son says to me, he's like, Mom, you always figure it out. And that in that moment, I'm like, huh, right? Like, instead of me, and I was literally trying to get them to freak out. I was enrolling them in freak out mode, right? And he just so swiftly stopped me dead in my tracks. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I have been through something like this before, right? We do have the ability to recall things and know that just as easily as we can recall something bad and negative and freak out, we can recall something of how awesome we made it through, right? In our abilities and trust in ourselves. Which leads me to like the other topic where it's just like really trust yourself. Know that you've got this, you know, and it's like trust in humanity too, right? Like right now we're focusing, I see a lot of ugly things starting to pop up about certain things that are happening. And I'm not encouraging you to look away and ignore it, but at the same time, focus on what is working, whether it's within yourself, right? Mr. Rogers, I think this is one of his quotes where it's like, in a crisis, look for the helpers. Right? Don't focus on the fire, focus on the firefighters. You know, here and right now with what's happening, it's like we still have truck drivers going. We have the healthcare profession, you know, still open, right? We're saying that like Las Vegas got shut down, but the non-essential, right? We don't need those casinos open right now. And I get it. That leads to job loss and income loss. But again, as I said in the beginning, we'll get to that. Right now, focus on what you do have. Learn how to be appreciative of it, right? Take the break. I know some, employees that have been doing this for 20, 30 years that are porters and their backs hurt and their knees hurt. It's a vacation. I know, again, the financial stress, start thinking about it, but don't freak out. Right now, focus on what you can and what you can control. And that's the way to go, just one step at a time. It's like, okay, number one, do we have what we need right now? Yes. Okay. What's next? Right? And give yourself permission to take a break too.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think really it just all ties into everything that we've been talking about is just having those daily practices that'll ground you. Like I said, I love the deep breathing. I also love meditation. I start my day every day with meditation. I just believe in it. If you don't like the whole sitting with yourself in silence, there's a ton of guided meditations that you can find online. It's like, that's what's the power of having the internet. We're very blessed right now. And then finding ways to be grateful, because definitely you have so much to be grateful for. A lot of the time we're just taking for granted the things in front of us. It's as simple as actually having a bed to sleep in at night. You could go just to that, because a lot of people do not even have that luxury, being able to have a shower in the morning or even to eat breakfast in your own kitchen. So just bringing yourself back to gratitude, and then finding ways to just connect with each other and use this as a learning experience that, especially about who we are as people. Who do you want to be? How are you reacting? Learning to see how you're reacting around this, because again, stress is a big proponent in this, and how do you react to your stresses is going to show how you are as a person. And so if you want to be the best version of you, this is a really good growing and learning moment for you to see how you will navigate through these next few weeks. And just be grateful that we have, again, as Angie was pointing out, all of those people on the front lines who are putting themselves out there, like all of our medical professionals and our police officers and our firefighters, all of those emergency personnel. Yes, some of the non-essentials that you would love to be open to be able to go and take part in. Those we don't have, but there's other ways to connect with people and to enjoy your life. And so I feel like if we can just look at all of those things and just focus back on that, and how we can just calm ourselves and how we can enjoy our lives right now, every day. Focus for today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just focus on each day. Don't look at the long term. Just focus on each day and get yourself through today. And at the end of the day, say thank you. And the next day again. That's how you're going to get through this. I think the best way you're going to get through this is just to take it one day at a time. You've heard that saying before, I'm sure.
Definitely. And I'm actually looking at the time, and I don't want to take any more of anybody else's time. I meant for this just to be a quick, supportive thing. So I'm just going to do a little quick roundtable, and I'll start with you, Paul. Is there, again, anything that you would want to close up with and really take this opportunity to, share of yourself, whether it's advice or anything that you feel that it's really important to share with the audience?
Well, I guess just one thing is, there's been a lot of things that come over the years, and there's a whole list that I'm sure you can find. But for example, 2000 there's Y2K. That was going to be a big deal, right? The end of the world. And 2001 was anthrax, and next up was West Nile virus, and then there was SARS, which hardly anybody, or at least I didn't really recognize SARS. I don't know if I was busy or not. It didn't really affect that many people because it was not as contagious as they thought it was going to be. And then there's bird flu and E. coli, financial collapse. All these things led to the end of the world, swine flu, the Mayan calendar predicted world end, right? North Korea was going to do World War III not that long ago. Ebola virus, ISIS, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these things had a larger impact than what we're going through right now. Now, you want to be wise, you want to be cautious, you want to, take precautions. The biggest thing, wash your hands and like I said, keep your distance. Don't get into big gatherings because it's a short-term virus. and it has killed very few people, really, based on stuff in history. It just amazes me that it's causing such an impact. But so did these other things, especially like Y2K and stuff. I mean, oh my gosh, that was a big panic, right? And what happened? Hardly any of us even remember it now. The new people probably aren't even aware of it, the younger generation. But to get through it, people even like in the Depression, they just focused on what their task was this day and got through the day, and it was thankful for what they got that day and moved on to the next day and did it again. And sure, there was pain, sure, there was suffering. But if you dwell on that, you become that, because what you dwell on is what you attract. So dwell on the good stuff, and then you'll attract good stuff. I guess that's my parting shot.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Paul. And where can we find you, Paul?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook real easy. Just go to my profile. Paul McCracken is pretty easy to find. I also have a page like that. That's probably the best place to find me. And I'd be more than happy to talk with anybody if they want to, and encourage them and help them find out what works for them, because it's all about other people and having them be able to discover things and get through their life maybe easier than I did, because I had a lot of rough, trying times in my life, but you know what? I'm still here. I'm still happy. I'm still kicking. And it's just because that's what I chose. So you too can choose.
Thank you so much. Leslie, how about you? What are your closing, if any, thoughts?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off of what you were talking about, social media. I made a choice 4 years ago, actually, to be conscious of my social media scrolling, and that what that means for me is that I don't like, share, or comment on a post that I don't feel really serves my best interest. And so because I've been doing that, I've found that Facebook has been putting less and less of that into my feed. In fact, I barely ever see that. And yes, just so you know, Facebook will give you what you want. The algorithm will give you what you want. If you start liking and posting and sharing things that are negative, you will get more of that in your feed. That's just a little tip. So that's really what for me, I just found that by just being really socially conscious when it comes to social media and what I allow into my world has really made a difference for me, because I really choose to be that person who is encouraging and empowering other people to live their best lives, like to be their best selves. Because, at the end of the day, that's really all that we have. And I would rather live my life happy than miserable. I'd rather focus on the positive than the negative. And it doesn't mean that doesn't filter into my world, but it sometimes does, of course. But I still feel that if I can every day bring my awareness back to everything that I have that sometimes we take for granted, like I said, like running water, having a bed to sleep in, my own refrigerator that I can put food in, and go and eat whenever I feel like it, having a car, things like that, working from home. I have a lot of things to be grateful for. And so when I have allowed myself to do that, it just makes my life so much better. And so I definitely, that's why I started my Facebook group for women, empowering women around stress, because I know stress is real. And through stress, we usually are our emotions. That's how we're usually driven by stresses, drive our emotions that manage us. So, and that's why I started my free Facebook group for women. So you can find me at Leslie, and my last name is Gaudet, Gaudet. And there's a link there if you want to join my group. If you're a woman who is looking for support, encouragement, uplifting, and in a community of really amazing people, then we'd be happy to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. And for me, my closing is really something that I'm really passionate about, and it's kind of redundant, but is love, right? Not love as romantic relationship, but just as a state of being and coming from love in any moment, in any situation. And right now, my current and most recent work is, it's called Love Evolution. And it's actually it speaks directly into what is happening right now, right? It's just coming from a place of love, whether it's loving yourself, loving and finding joy in the moment, right? When you're out there shopping, not taking advantage and just, you know, being mindful of others, being compassionate towards others. And that's really what we need right now, I think, is more love. And to me, that is the best way to counteract fear. That is the best defense to fear, is loving yourself. Like, again, yourself, trusting yourself, all of those things stem for me, at least how I see it, from that. And that's honestly why all three of us got together, right? Was out of the love and passion that we have in serving others. We came together and we're like, hey, let's just have a chat about it, right? Who knows where this is going to go, if this actually, you know what I mean? If people hear, I hope and pray that people are listening and really heed to some of the things that we're addressing. But we all get to, you know, put our drop in the bucket, right? And this is just our way of doing that. So thank you so much, Leslie and Paul. And I really appreciate that the moment, like, I'm like, hey, can we make this happen today? And you guys both jumped on it, and, you know, and hey, you know, we just keep going. For whatever reason, camera didn't work, but that didn't stop me, right? And that's the same mentality that we should be applying day to day, right? Something can go wrong, but don't let that stop you, and just keep going.
Absolutely, I agree. This was really great. I hope that our viewers something out of it too. So thank you so much, Angie, for putting this together. Thank you, Paul, for coming on as well. I really appreciate both of you. And I hope that definitely, if you want, you guys can post in your links to your book, your groups, or your Facebook pages, put it in the comments in the video, in the comments below our video, so that people can find us quicker. But yeah, connect, because again, connection is really what's going to be key for us to be able to get through this, doing it together. So, all right. Well, that was fun. Thank you, Angie, for putting this together. I hope you guys all have an awesome day. And remember to navigate your day with an attitude of gratitude, because the right attitude will put you in the right mindset. And with the right mindset, you'll be able to tackle what life throws at you, even if it's hard. All right, guys. Hope you have amazing good rest of your day. Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.